thing's a heavy bitch. Oh. All right, I think we got everything. Nuggies, I know you normally come with me, but I'm gonna have to leave you home this time, okay? You gonna keep mom company? Okay, you do that for me? All right, we're on the road and just driving Interstate 44 in St. Louis, heading to a quick trip that I like to go. Diesel there is like $3.10. So I'm gonna kind of top off there, and then with the 60-gallon tank, it'll be more than enough to get me up to Michigan to see Mr. PTT. About an hour out from our stopping spot, got fuel, been riding on Interstate 69. I took 70 over to Indianapolis and then went up 69 because I found just avoiding Chicago and that whole area of 80 is just a good idea. The road surface is terrible and the traffic there is also terrible, and even though it's like, I think it's only like 15 minutes shorter than going this way, but you end up sitting in traffic for probably 20 or 30. For those of you who are new to the channel, the hitchhiker that I'll keep referring to is the green box that is on the back of my truck. Long story short, I went to and was fortunate enough to go to school with one of the co-founders of a company called Tusca Outdoors, and they were making hunting blinds for a long time out of foam covered with a bed liner spray. It's called polyurea, and it basically makes the foam very rigid and hard, but you get the insulation, the waterproof characteristics, and also you get the weight and the low weight of having something that's made out of foam. And so one of the founders at this company decided to try to make a truck camper or a trailer camper, like a mini teardrop camper, out of this foam material that they were using to do hunting blinds. And so he tried it, and they actually released one earlier this year, and I got to go check it out and did a video on it that's on this channel, and people went crazy for it. And so now I'm actually testing what will be not yet a final version, but that's what we're working on. This is like the Gen 1 truck bed hitchhiker. We made it to our stopping spot for the night. We're at a Love's in Marshall, Michigan, about an hour and a half from PTT's shop. So we're gonna sleep here tonight. You can kind of see my setup here when I'm on the road. I'm a little full right now, actually. Usually that big inflatable air mattress is not there. We're moving back to New England, and so I'm actually taking a few things with me up to Maine. This is a fridge, plugs into my 12 volt, and it will draw from my battery for up to 18 hours until it shuts off, just so it doesn't drain my battery. But normally I'm resetting within 10 hours, so that doesn't matter. Has quite a bit of space. You'll see I carry milk, water, and energy drinks in here. The milk is for my protein shakes, which I have with my snacks in a crate over there. If I open the door, you'll see, I know my head's oriented the wrong way, but the windows that are at this end, and I like having a nice cross breeze across my face. I don't have an AC unit. I have tried a little fan that you can see up there, but it doesn't really do much. It's a $15 Amazon fan, and then I made window covers out of that reflective RV window cover material I got on Amazon for like 20 bucks, and Velcro strips that I ran across the top. And part of the reason I did that was I want these to lift up if the wind blows, so I get a breeze still. I didn't want this to be totally sealed and insulated, but you could make it that way. if you wanted to, if you knew you were gonna be doing a lot of winter camping. Now, one thing I cannot recommend enough if you're planning on sleeping in your car is get yourself a pair of comfy earplugs. I like the 3M earplugs, or they're called like Earos, E-A-R-O, yeah, apostrophe S. Anyway, earplugs and an eye mask. This will actually go over my face. I'll even put it on and you can see it's nice and comfy. It doesn't have the wire strap. You can find this on Amazon too, and like I can't see anything right now. Oh, it's a beautiful day out there. Good morning. I always try to get at least, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes of sunlight in the morning if the sun's out, and just like being outside in the morning, because I've found that just really helps keep me alert and awake throughout the day. You kind of get to give your body the signals it needs. Birdmate's having a snack on my grill. We have arrived. PTT is replacing this pressure sensor that was giving me that code, the P2459. So we were hoping that fixes it. PTT tried to update the PCM firmware, it was already up to date, and that didn't seem to fix it. So if this doesn't work, I guess potentially getting a new DPF, but I know it's gonna work. I trust in the forums, so we shall see. I really like this street sign. I want one of those. Here's what the culprit looks like. Pressure sensor. That tube just attaches to the DPF, and then this little guy is what reads your pressure differential. All right, so big thanks to PTT. We think we got the truck sorted. I'm gonna find out very soon if the pressure sensor was indeed the fix, which we're pretty sure. All right, we're back on the road after seeing Mr. A-Rod. I just filled up at the Loves that I signed off at last night. So a big thing with running logs is you need to pick your log up in the city you left off in. So you can't just magically spawn into Detroit and then log on there if your logbook's last recorded location was St. Louis, if that makes sense. So we're gonna go pick up a trailer now. So now we're gonna try to get this to 2250. We're already pretty close, but this way is the way that does that. I have a list that I go through when I'm picking up a trailer like this. You know, it typically involves checking the undercarriage, checking the lugs, checking the air pressure. I'll, you know, make sure that there's no panels coming off of the trailer. You want to basically make sure that there's no damage that would keep a dealer from accepting one of these units. And they'll accept a lot, but there's a few things they won't. And so you're really just looking for anything that would not be repairable at the site, and then you want to get photos of it, because if the dealer does try to not accept it, you can go to your claims department with photos and be like, hey, this wasn't me that did the damage. It was like this from factory. It's not my problem. You'll see the lots are really full, but I'm taking this wolf pack, this Cherokee wolf pack. It is a toy hauler. Now, something interesting about toy haulers, they're actually a lot better to tow when they're empty because you get a lot more tongue weight. This thing weighs, ship weight's like 6,663 pounds, and my tongue weight's 1,000. Normally when I'm towing a travel trailer, I'll be lucky if the tongue weight's like 500 to 700 pounds. Normally I'll get like 800 pound tongue weight if I'm towing like a 37 or a 40 foot. This thing's only 27 feet and it's got 1,000 pound tongue weight. So again, we're just walking around looking for anything that might, again, be a red flag. You know, is the awning hanging out too far? Does it look like it's broken? You know, like, is it going to pop out en route? You know, how does the axles look? And you want to check your lights. I'm going to go through a bunch of this after I get off here before we jump back in. But, you know, are there any scratches on the glass? Any schmutzes? Like, you can see that mark right below there. That's just from water dripping, but I still might take a photo of that. All right, we're rolling out of the yard. I do have to do a checkout at the gate, and then I gotta wait there because I usually request a pay advance. And so they'll pay you part of basically your half your total for the trip. I think up to like $1,000 for fuel just to get you started. So yeah, we usually roll up to the gate and then I'll park outside for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and there's usually a pretty decent sized group chilling out there. Here we got the setup for the night. These toy haulers look so funny with their axles all the way out back. We're in Mantua, Ohio at Brady's Leap Travel Plaza, and we're gonna post up here for the next 10 hours. Now, typically when I get ready for bed, well, I'll stop first and then I'll get ready for bed. And after I stop, I'll typically eat a quick dinner. Usually when I'm on the road, I will buy one meal out. That's usually either like a high protein salad sandwich. I don't know, usually salads and sandwiches are all you can come by on the interstate, unless you're at some place that has good burritos or something like that. And then I have a over there in that crate, a jar you can see that's actually a meal replacement protein powder. So it has about 500 calories, and with milk, it gets me about 65 grams of protein. So I try to stick to high protein stuff. If I need to snack on something, I don't carry snacks on purpose because I don't want to be eating the calories while I'm in the car. But if I am indeed trying to snack, I will have nuts, or I'll have some sort of like chickpeas, stuff like that, that actually do really well in terms of like the protein. They're low in sugar. And I think that's the biggest thing with just driving, is you just don't want to have a lot of sugar, because your body, especially if you're not exercising, you're just sitting all the time, your body can't do a lot if it's just given a bunch of sugar, and it's going to make you crash. So to keep my energy up, I try to just eat high protein stuff. Obviously, like bread doesn't have a lot of good stuff in it, but if I'm getting a sandwich, I'll try to focus on putting a lot of proteins in the sandwich. You know, and just don't eat a lot of it. Like, don't eat a lot of calories, because at the end of the day, it's calories in, calories out, and it matters what you eat, but it does matter a little bit less. This right here is a little toiletries bag that I use. So I'll typically go into a rest area like this and grab my little dinner or have my protein shake, and then I go in, it's time to brush my teeth and take care of all the nighttime stuff. Heading to bed, so I will see you in the morning. If you're curious, this is kind of what the sleeping setup looks like. From the other end, I got my clothes duffel that just has all my spare clothes, and then my actual sleeping apparatus. And I found, like, I don't love having my head near the door. I kind of like having my feet near the door. But I found in the HitchHiker, it's really nice to have your head in between the two windows, because you just get a really nice cross breeze across your face in the middle of the night. So yeah, that's kind of why I moved it over there. right, I'm just finishing up my pre-trip inspection on this unit. Now we know the blinkers and the brake lights work. And again, I'm just looking under the unit, similar when I picked it up. Like, is there anything hanging down? Is the landing gear good? You know, for the truck, I'm checking my tires for debris. I already checked the lug nuts and the tire pressure on the trailer. That I do every time I stop for the night, because these new units, the lugs will loosen over time. So yeah, we're just looking around. I saw that hose earlier and it literally just comes out through the floor. It's kind of unbelievable, actually. You think they would do a better job of this? Take a look. Like, it's like spouting out of the floor. Anywho, we are gonna get on with the trip. I went in, usually my morning routine kind of consists of, you know, brushing my teeth, getting deodorant on, doing all the stuff that you would normally do at home. You just do it in a travel rest area. All right, I made it to my second stopping spot of this transport trip. We are in Willington, Connecticut at the Love's Travel Stop. I was able to snag a spot. Took a little bit of time. Originally I was parked in front of where they dock the tankers to fill up the pumps, to fill up their underground tanks. And I didn't really want to have to move in the middle of the night, so I basically scooted to another spot. That's one of the big things I've realized is, like, when you park at a rest area, I try not to park with the big trucks because they don't really like RVs taking up their truck parking, and usually my rig is a lot shorter than theirs, so I just park out front with like the cars and stuff. And normally Love's has RV spots, but it can sometimes be a challenge to find parking. That's probably one of the more challenging things, and that's why I try to run routes that are very similar, because then I know where my stopping spots are and I'm not thinking about that. You know, the first time you run a new route, you're like, you gotta kind of roll the dice a bit to like try find places to park, and you know, you're hoping that there's spots open when you get there. But yeah, we're gonna stay at this Love's tonight, and then I'm about 3.5 hours from the RV dealer, you know, per Google Maps. Now I usually add an hour to that, so it's probably like 4.5 hours door to door. And so I'll get there before noon, get checked in, and then offload the cargo. They take the trailer, and then I run back bobtail, and that's pretty much the end of the trip. So it's a lot of inspections and a lot of making sure that, you know, you dot your I's and cross your T's with your logbook and getting the cargo there safe, but trying to get some sleep. And I'm gonna get an early start tomorrow at around 4 so I can beat the Boston traffic up to 95. Good morning. Had a bit of a fitful sleep. Some mate kept trying to back up next to me in the middle of the night with his beeper on, so that kind of sucked. But we got 3.5 hours to go. Didn't end up getting at 4 a.m. because, like I said, I slept poorly. And in my opinion, when you're doing this job, sleep is like the most important thing. So I slept until 6. It's almost 7 now, and I'm gonna get on duty here in a bit, and then we're gonna hit the road. These things are so good. I really like them too because they get you a lot of good brain food. You get alpha GPC, a bunch of other good stuff, L-theanine, and they're not too sweet. I've really gotten away from having the energy drinks that just taste like you're drinking cough syrup. Yes, this is probably one of my least favorite parts of doing commercial driving, is stopping to get fuel. You have to log it. It's like a 15-minute tick in your logbook or your electronic log, and you know, typically I'll do like my pre-trip inspection in the morning and fill up. And I pretty much always try to fill up with this stuff. I have a 60-gallon tank and I have like a quarter tank left, so I'm putting for like 12 ounces in this thing. So we're gonna put this in and get a move on. Truck's probably gonna take about 40 gallons, I would think. If you made it this far in the video, at this point you're probably wondering, wow, you have 11 hours a day in the car. What do you do with your time? And that's a good question. I have found that I prefer listening to audiobooks and music, and I kind of cycle them depending on what my mood is. Truck just hit 164,000 miles. The regens are indicating that the sensor fix worked, the sun is out, and we're in Kennebunkport, Maine. Life is good. But we're gonna get this trailer here to the delivery spot in another hour and then get on our way. I'm actually, after I make the drop off, gonna go visit my parents. They live in southern New Hampshire, and then we'll get back on the road the day after. You always need to call ahead, and I called ahead yesterday to make sure I was parking in the right spot, because usually every dealership has a preference where you drop off net new trailers. Yes, sir. Made it all the way. Now, the dealers need two things from you. They need the dealer inspection form in the info packet. Obviously, there's like the title and stuff in there. But then you need to get the dealer inspection form signed and the bill of lading, which is basically the receipt for your transport services. Now, one of the more important things when you are about to drop off an RV is to get post-trip unit pictures. So I just went in and told them I was here and that I have my document packet, and they're gonna send someone out and they're gonna look over the RV, make sure it's something that they can accept and sell. And so my job now is, in addition to just unhooking the unit, I gotta go around and take photos and upload those to our driver app to make sure that nothing happened in transit. I've unhooked pretty much everything except for the electrical cable and the actual hitch itself, because they just have to go around and make sure everything works before they accept the RV from the factory. Made the delivery, got the paperwork, it's signed. I got my dealer inspection form and the bill of lading signed, so I marked it delivered in the app, and now Wave Express knows that unit is delivered. It gets off our books and is now the dealership's problem. One of the things I've been trying to figure out while I'm filming this trip is like, how much of it should I film? Because at the end of the day, to do an RV transport trip like this, 90% of your time you're just in the car. It's just windshield time. So I finished my 34-hour reset and visited my parents. I was gonna try to turn and burn out of here on Friday morning, which was yesterday, but as it turns out, I probably wouldn't have had enough hours to go from here to Indiana, then back to Harrisburg. And so I just decided to take a day and, even if I had gone Friday and tried to cram the load in, I wouldn't have been able to deliver it until Monday anyway. And so as it is, it'll make me need to hustle a little bit more, but I won't have to stress over not having enough hours of service to complete the second load. So yeah, I just decided to do that. Gonna hit a quick fill up. Okay, we're starting for fuel again at Love's. We went from Connecticut all the way to Brookville, and I've almost used up my 8 hours, so I gotta hop out. All right, going in. So what we got going on? And yeah, it's almost 9, so it's cooled off quite a bit. And definitely gonna sleep with the windows open, and I'm gonna put earplugs in. And I run, I think I talked about it one of the other nights, but this face mask, it's like what you'd wear on an airplane. I wanted to show just how much space we have in the truck bed. So my bed's 6'9", the hitchhiker fits inside the tailgate. And so, when I lay down, my head is pretty much at the top here. and you can stick your toes all the way down. So, oh man, it's making me sleepy just laying down. This is definitely pretty dialed setup. It's a beautiful morning this morning. It's super nice. I was like 55 last night, so I'm gonna get up and do my morning routine, and then we're gonna hit the road. We got 3 hours to go to get this trailer, and then another 5 after that to our stopping spot. It's nice Sunday mornings, like pull out of the rest area. There's just like no one on the road. Saturday and Sundays are probably my favorite days to drive because you do get weekend traffic. Like I got some traffic yesterday in Connecticut, which was pretty bad, but Connecticut's always bad. Waterbury, Danbury, Hartford, it's always a shit show. All right, we made it to the yard and we are headed in to go find this trailer. It's an 803. It's a Wildwood by Forest River. They're okay. Okay, so just finished the hookup, and this is kind of what I look for just as a final check. You have your electrical plugged in, obviously, trailer brakes, lights, all that, and we'll check the lights by running the flashers. Make sure the safety chains are crossed. I always double check that. Recheck all the bolts here, make sure this pin is in, make sure the padlock is on the hitch, and I'll look underneath to actually see that the pin coupler is in fact engaged. You can look under there and see that. These have pins in them that need to be installed. Landing gear is retracted, or the jack is retracted. And then if I go over here, same thing. I'll come over and check the breakaway battery I installed, make sure all the connections are good. And then on this side, I'm double checking. I wanted my weigh safe to be close to 1,500 pounds of distributed weight, given the weight of the trailer and how much was just resting on the tongue. I have this clip. This thing is super handy for your breakaway. I'm gonna trace that back and make sure that it is connected in the right spot. And then, you know, again, just looking at everything from this side, making sure nothing's amiss. So now that I have all the connections checked and I've done the cursory inspection, we're gonna do what we did on the other trailer, and I'm gonna walk around, take pictures, look for scratches, document anything that's wrong with the trailer before I take it and mark it in the app as picked up. Made it to our stopping place for the night, so I'm gonna go pee and grab a bite to eat, and then probably hang out in the hitchhiker for a bit because it's kind of toasty out. There's a nice breeze, but I think I'm gonna probably wait. It's only like 7 o'clock, probably gonna wait till like 9 to go to bed. I'm smoked. It's gonna be good to be home tomorrow. We're doing an early one today. It's about 4:30, so not really that early, but I'm gonna try to get on the road and get this delivery done for when they open by 9 a.m. about to hit a pretty decent sized hill. It was the one I mentioned earlier that is, it's the one hill probably in Pennsylvania that requires chains in the wintertime. I mean, I'm sure there's others, but it's a pretty big boy, and I had some people ask about exhaust brake, so I'm gonna run the exhaust brake and set cruise. Usually go only about 40 miles an hour down this hill because it's a little windy. And I'll open the window and let you hear what it sounds like. Keep in mind, I'm probably only towing an additional, or carrying an additional 8,000 pounds. So it's not like I have like a crazy amount of cargo on me. And I think like if you were going to tow, you know, 30,000 pounds behind like a 350 dually and you had a CDL, the exhaust brake might not be as good, but like for my purposes, it's great. So yeah, we'll let you kind of listen to it going to work here, and it holds me really well. I never have to touch the brakes going down this hill. I did have to hit the brakes there because I needed to get around this truck and someone was coming, so unfortunately we weren't able to make a clean run of it down the hill. But I mean, it'll even slow me down. Like, I'm going 50 right now, and I set cruise at 45, and it's gonna bring me right down to 45. All right, made it to our destination. We're gonna get this inspected, checked in, and then that's gonna do it. So thank you for following along. I really appreciate it.